Pete Carroll's gone. Pete Carroll's gone. Ashton Jeanty to the
Mashed potatoes!
to the mother freaking moon. Ashton Jeanty. No, not to the moon.
To Jupiter.
Ashton Jeanty is going to ball in 2026. He is who we thought he was. He is who
I
he
smell meatloaf.
It's like Bijan. We were a year early on Bijan. Not now, Kruger. We were early on Bijan. He was running back 9 his rookie season. We were correct on Bijan. Ultimately, Bijan, all he does is score touchdowns. We were correct on Bijan. We were a year early. We're correct on Jeanty. We're a year early. Pete Carroll's gone. What do? Who do they bring in? Do they bring in Kubes? We've also got this NFL draft order that's locked and loaded into place, ladies and gentlemen. That's not it. That's the wrong graphic. Although I will get to the NFL playoff predictions. Don't you worry about that. But we have the NFL draft order locked in through the first seven or so. We'll pull that up in here and talk about the Raiders, how the Raiders locked in on a rookie draft selection. Super excited about Ashton Jeanty's new environment. We got some Malik Nabers news. Malik Nabers speaking about his recovery, saying he won't rush it. If he can't make it on the field in week 1, he doesn't make it on the field in week 1. If he makes it on the field in week 1, he makes it on the field in week 1. A lot of people taking these words and they're thinking the worst. They're going in crazy directions. It's January 5. Somebody's asking a question about September. It's January 5. Let me just tell you, I love every single bit of it. If you're going to bring me negative news in January, on January 5 about September, mid-September, you don't know ball. You're just a panic Peter. And somebody asked the wrong question the right way, and the wrong response came out to somebody that wants to write it up a certain way, and it's glorious, because guess what happens to his value perception-wise?
Stock on decline.
On decline. Guess what that means for all of us in the building? And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're 24/7, 365 in this environment, okay? Not first and foremost. We don't shut down. We don't slow down. We don't take a breath. We don't reconvene. We're doing it live. We've already got 3 Jupiter men. No Mars men. No Saturn men yet. These boards are blank. Blank.
He's on a
blank.
to
The Saturn
Blank.
men.
But we have a 3rd Jupiter man. And can you guess in the chat who might be the 3rd Jupiter man? Can you drop the emoji in anticipation of the next Jupiter man? I love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. John says, telling you, Smitty, if Packers lose and lose big, LaFleur to Atlanta, maybe. The Packers are a mess right now. Drop the emoji of the player you think is being listed. It's pretty relevant with what's on the screen right now. Can I just say that?
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
Get hot chicks and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day, the other is for getting shit.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
$20 super chat dropped by Anthony because Anthony is a monster, is what Anthony is. He says off season.
Super chat alert.
Off season. There's no off season for Anthony. What do I look like, a moron? Think there's an off season? The Smitty method at work. 5 of 5 playoffs, 3 of 5 championships, 2 of 5 wins. Whole thing. This is what happens when you trust the process. Here's a tip to show appreciation. I'll be here for the off-season master classes. I love the expression on your face, number one. Number 2, the generosity and the amazing review and testimonial that's sitting right in front of my face. But more so, I love the mother freaking energy, baby.
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy.
All right, let's get to it. Thank you, my boy Anthony, for dropping the $20 super chat. We did have another super chat that wants immediate attention as well here from Coach. Can't believe they didn't let Carroll re-sign. Re-sign. More like they walked him out the back door. All right, so let's go over all the news. Jeanty, obviously, stock is on the rise. Pete Carroll fired. Fantastic news. Do they bring in Kubes? Could be one of the potential hires. Let me find this Kubes clip here that I have. Here it is. Clint Kubiak. Falcons requested an interview with Seahawks head coach Clint Kubiak for their head coach vacancy. But I'm looking at this one, too, for potentially the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are going to go through a whole bunch of safety measures so they don't screw this process up. I don't necessarily think it's smart to rush it. Then again, you don't want the right potential player position to slip away. But Falcons requested an interview with Seahawks Clint Kubiak. This is both good. Kubes going there. Kubes going to the Raiders. It's all good stuff because this is a guy that obviously did great work with not only the rushing attack in Seattle, but JSN in the passing attack. And to get the most out of Sam Darnold, I'm telling you, the collapse of Baker, the collapse of Goff, and the offensive coordinator raptures of Ben Johnson from Detroit over to Chicago, Liam Cohen from his role in Tampa, the collapse of Baker over to Jacksonville, we might see Sam Darnold turn back into a pumpkin yet again with the maneuver here where Clint Kubiak escapes from Seattle and goes elsewhere. So this is something to monitor in terms of Sam Darnold, JSN, and that situation. Now, thank God Jalen Milroe is there in Seattle because I still firmly believe in Jalen Milroe. But Kubes is somebody we definitely want to keep an eye on for the Falcons and the Raiders because he is an offensive minded, get the ball out, throw it, run it, good balance. Both the rush and the pass could thrive. Very, very good. Pete Carroll get another job? I hope not, because he just brings everything down. I don't think anybody in their right mind would bring him in after that debacle, but you never know, bro. You never know. Jeanty stock on the rise. They're surely going to focus on offensive line. They're probably going to draft a rookie quarterback with this number 1 overall pick. Let me pull up the draft order that we have here that's been pretty much locked in to place 1 through 7. Let me see if I can find that damn... Where is it? Is it over here? I don't know if it's on this screen right here. I think it is. Is that right? Yeah, that looks right. Is that right? No, the Cardinals are 5 there. The Cardinals moved to 3. Where the hell's my damn graphic? Let me comb through them real quickly because I want to pull the correct graphic on screen and speak on it. So let me just see if I can find it real quickly. Here it is. Here it is. This is updated and accurate. So Cardinals have the 3 pick. Raiders have the 1. Jets have the 2. Now, there's a lot of Jets drama, too, we'll get to in a second. But the Jets are a mess. Nobody wants to go play for the Jets, and I've got some buzz on that. But as for the Raiders, they got that 1 pick. And honestly, there's really only one quarterback, in my opinion, as of right now, that warrants this kind of consideration. Now, some people are going to say that could change, and I certainly agree with that. And just to be very, very upfront and honest with you, there are 2 quarterbacks. I'm always honest about this stuff. I'm always willing to take laps. I'm always willing to admit my wrongs and willing to admit when I want to change in directions, because it's not a defeat to me. To me, it's great news. If I find out I like somebody that I didn't like, guess what? That's another player for us to draft to dominate. And Shuck is one player that I was not high on that I am now starting to really like a lot, and that's on me. and you're not going to get everything right, but I'm admitting this. I did not like Shuck. I did not think Shuck was going to be a good quarterback. Shuck looks like an exciting young quarterback in New Orleans. Jackson Dart wasn't super high on him, although I got higher on him with his landing spot because I really like Nabers, and so that obviously mended fences for me in terms of my potential dislike for Dart as a prospect coming out. Dart has excelled. Dart is exciting. These are two quarterbacks that I feel very, very amped about. Now, that doesn't mean that Moore, if he does in fact enter the NFL draft, there are other quarterback options that could be, may not be, we'll see, get into the mix, but it really is Fernando Mendoza. That's really the only option. And so you look at this NFL draft board here, and the Jets are screwed. The Jets have the 2 pick. Usually it'd be a good pick. You get a quarterback. I don't know that there will be another quarterback that I think can potentially be as good as really they need to be the number 2 overall pick. And there's some rumors and such that that potentially no quarterback's going to want to, or people are insinuating that they won't want to play for the Jets, and that some of the quarterbacks considering entering the NFL draft will return to college, get paid the same amount of money as the rookie contract, and play another year of college football versus go to be the number 2 overall pick to the New York Jets. They might be screwed. And the Cardinals don't necessarily need a quarterback, and this isn't really a quarterback draft, so it's not like the Cardinals have the temptations of old to trade down because, look, we're holding a top 3 pick. There's 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and I'm not saying that a quarterback doesn't rise, but Mendoza's really the only guy. Now, Mendoza in LA or LV is fantastic. I like Mendoza a lot. You could even bring a bridge QB in if you wanted to, but I don't know that you'd want to even do that. I think you might want to start Mendoza. It depends on how quick he picks things up. Mendoza to the Raiders, Ashton Jeanty, revamped offensive line, offensive-minded OC and head coach, or maybe it's a defensive-minded head coach that brings in an OC in the realm of the successful attempts of having that Campbell, having that Sirianni. When you have the proper OC in place, it works really well. Ben Johnson, kind of a head coach, in a silent head coach partner in the pecking order. And the same thing happens over in several different locations. Atlanta tried to kind of do that with their OC and head coach. Didn't work. Doesn't mean it's a bad formula. It's a really good formula. So if they went that route, I'd be fine as long as the offensive coordinator was perfect. Cardinals 3, Tennessee Titans 4, Giants 5, Cleveland Browns 6, Washington Commanders 7. Those are all locked into place. So the Raiders have Mendoza on lock, which is absolutely fantastic. We couldn't have got better news. Jeanty gets his head coach fired. Jeanty gets Mendoza. Jeanty gets a new offense. Jeanty's going to be the focal point. Brock Bowers. We haven't even talked about Brock Bowers.
I smell meatloaf.
I already know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. Brock Bowers to the moon. We haven't even begun to talk about Brock Bowers. Such a great day. This is about as good a day as any. To be handed this information that regime change is in play. And I do believe Tom Brady crapped the bed in his attempt to try and help curb this thing as a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. But I don't know how much he really had a hand in that first little run. I believe, if you want to ask my humble opinion, that Tom Brady wasn't really relied on. And I believe that this botched attempt of trying to do this with Tom Brady's guidance might have this organization say, now Tom Brady's going to make more decisions. And we might hear that come down the line, because I can't imagine Tom Brady sat there and said, Geno Smith, I agree, Pete. That's what I want to do. I don't think that's how this went. I think that if that's how this went, Pete would still be there. I think this is cleanup. I think Tom Brady is going to have a heavy hand. I think Mendoza is the guy. And I think Ashton Jeanty goes to Jupiter.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
What a day. What a remarkable day. All right, so Jeanty and Bowers to the mother freaking moon with this because we know how good this is. And let me tell you this, Bowers is also going to be one of the biggest bounce back players for 2026. In fact, I don't even care. I'm doing it now. Do we make him a Saturn man so we keep a couple Jupiter spots open? Or do we just throw him right on the Jupiter board right now? We'll make an official announcement. I'll do a video tonight or tomorrow that officially kind of announces. But Brock Bowers was just handed the keys to the castle. Brock Bowers is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, and he'll be so overlooked because of the bad season. People won't be able to grasp putting him in round 2, so he's going to be a round 3 gold mine. He's going to be a round 3 gold mine. Does he? The only question is, does he go on Saturn so we leave Jupiter spots available, or is he Jupiter worthy? Drop your vote in the chat. You decide. Jupiter, Saturn, Saturn, Jupiter, but I'm doing it now and I'm doing it live. We got 4 bold predictions already dropped. I got a Saturn vote from Travis. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Kubiak, rewind the show. We just talked about that. You're late to the party, bro. Saturn. Matthew says Saturn. Jupiter in the 3rd. It does feel a little Jupiter-like in the 3rd round. That's the reason why I'm really thinking about maybe he's Jupiter. Because the board is about not just how big you are, but what the value is, what the cost of entry and the return on investment. So I'm kind of tempted to put him on the Jupiter list. Although we're going to be running out of spots really quickly, it makes sense. No problem, Kat. Just make sure you rewatch because you'll get more Kubiak talk. I got a Saturn vote. I got a Saturn vote. I got a Saturn vote. I will put him on Saturn for now. I might move him to Jupiter though. But they're both amazing lists. I mean,
the Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant
leap
for Saturn.
I think some of you want him on Saturn because the Saturn board's blank and we haven't been able to hit the button.
Spaceman.
Unbelievable. But you want to run that back for good measure. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Jupiter men.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta grab this right here. We gotta put a date next to it too. I give you the Saturn men.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
We'll change this to the 5th.
Spaceman.
5th. Brock Bowers graced the Jupiter board on 1/5/2026. We have 4 Spacemen already. 1 Saturn man, 3 Jupiter men. We're cooking. We're absolutely cooking. And dare I say, they are glorious picks. And I don't want to hear a single person come in here and say, oh, those are not that bold to call, Smitty. They're bold because all their ADPs win leagues. Do you understand the concept here? That's why they're dated. So that you don't come in here and run your mouth like a worried William or an angry Angus or a bitter Bobby. And you walk in and you say, oh,
the Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, bold. Every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
Those are big bad boys, Smitty. Those are big bad boys. How on earth, Smitty? Where's my big bad boy button? I think I have that right. I don't know where it is. These are big bad boys, Smitty. I don't understand how these are bold calls. Well, I'll tell you how they're bold calls. They're bold calls because Jeanty going at mother freaking 2.4, 2.3, 2.8, 3.1, wherever the hell his ADP lingers and he plays like a top 5 overall player, guess what that does? It wins a league. Jeremiah Love getting drafted at 2.8, 2.7, 2.5, 3.1 because scared money scared money don't make money, but those that aren't scared of making the money make all the quiche. You want to make some quiche? You're going to draft this man, Jeremiah Love, at that mid-second to top of round 3 and get a top 5 to 6 running back. Malik Nabers, scared of him? Oh, I'm a little worried about it in January. Smitty, did you see the news today? We're going to get to that in a second. Scared money don't make money. These guys are league winners that can double their return on investment. All you got to do is believe. And the same thing about this
The
man
Saturn
right here.
Men.
One small step for man.
All right. Let's hit this. So thank you, Brock Bowers, for gracing. Unexpected visitor today was Brock Bowers. Kubiak, we talked about that. This is the news that I think everybody wants to hear about right now. Malik Nabers told reporters that if his body doesn't feel right, he won't play week 1 next season. And it's so funny because a petrified Peter hears this. Just the order of questioning, the wording that's used when a reporter asks a question about, like, are you playing no matter what? Or, hey, Malik, how's the knee? I don't know. It's still January. I'm still rehabbing the knee. He has January, February, March, April, May, June. You can recover from a torn ACL in 6 months. It's better to go 9. There's no doubt about it. But at 22, 23, when you're a young man, you could literally get to close return 80% form in 6 to 7 months. The way Jeanty did it, he was way ahead of the game. You're talking about January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. You're talking about 8.5 months essentially that this man has to still recover. And you have some reporter saying, will you play in week 1 if you're not ready? And he answers the question and everybody goes, oh my God. Oh my God. Malik Nabers is in play. Did you hear the news? Malik Nabers is in play in week 1. Have you heard the news? This is unbelievable. I can't believe. I'm such a worried. What did you hear the news, Malik? Play week 1. Hello. Malik Nabers. You out of your minds? Look at this guy, Michael Wilson. What's he doing on screen? What are you doing back there, bro? Unbelievable, bro. All I can tell you is this just adds to the glory. It adds to the upside. It adds to the value added proposition that goes along with Nabers. If his perceived value is
Stock on decline.
then in my mind, I'm buying the hell out of him. Make your offers in Dynasty. Go after this kid. He is literally a top 1 to 3 Dynasty wide receiver. Not top 3, top 1 to 3. Put some damn respect on it. Put some damn respect on it. Okay, where are we at? Kubiak, there you go. Actually, I want Panic Peters to spread the news. That's what we're saying, Hybrid. That's what we're saying. Okay, this news, let's go through all the rest of this news. Zach Taylor is going to retain, Bengals are going to retain Zach Taylor and GM Duke Tobin next season. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I think this regime is not getting it done, and this might lead to a 2027 turmoil and decision for Joe Burrow to try and maybe wiggle, because I don't think Joe Burrow weasels. He wiggles. He smokes cigars. Wiggle his way out of a Cincinnati Bengal uniform if things don't go well in 2026. A lot of people acting like Joe Burrow is getting traded this offseason. It's not going to happen. But will Joe Burrow, if another failed year unfolds, will he wait another year for a new regime to then fail, or will he want out immediately? Mass exodus in Cincinnati? Maybe. QB Tua Tagovailoa said he's open to a fresh start, and he actually said that would be dope when they asked him if he wanted to play for another team. So he's gone. Now, the Raiders aren't needed for they don't need a quarterback. The Jets do. I could see Tua as a Jet. I really could. Who knows, where Tua ends up landing, but we could use him in a couple spots. Minnesota is intriguing because they're able to mask all the deficiencies of Sam Darnold. They were able to make Kirk Cousins play, I think, at a higher level than he probably would have played elsewhere. And so it's interesting. It also gives, another option because they're not going to get rid of J9. No one is going to trade high value for him, so they would keep him. So you got to ask yourself, what are the Vikings' options? There aren't really any. So if you're sitting here going, well, I don't like Tua. You like Tua more than you like just J9. I can promise you that. We can come back in time. I'll get in actually, let me go find future Smitty. Hang tight. I'll have future Smitty spell it out for you because I don't think you understand what in the hell's going on here. So let me get future Smitty for you. Let me tell you something, Steven. You 100% would rather have Tua Tagovailoa with J9 than just J9. I promise you that. I'm from the future, and I promise you'll want at least the both of them. There's no other options. There's no white doves or silver ladies or, I don't know, picket fences with hearts all over the place waiting for you at the end of the J9 rainbow. It is literally Tua and J9. Maybe that suffices. Maybe. All I know is you need something, and there's nothing out there. Kyler's not good for JJ. Tua is better for JJ than Kyler. Tua's not necessarily a Super Bowl champion quarterback or even a championship game quarterback or even a 2 playoff win quarterback, but maybe he makes the playoffs, gets knocked out in round 1 for a Minnesota Viking offense. Or maybe they could go a little further than that. Let's be open-minded. No one's saying he's a Super Bowl champion quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, but guess what? He's better than what is there. And if you're asking me, I want to put players in positions to help fantasy football output. I don't care about dissecting whether Tua Tagovailoa has what it takes to take the Vikings to the Super Bowl. That's another conversation which I'm more than willing to have, but that's not the one we're having today. So hopefully Tua does play in a position where he can help one of these teams that doesn't have a quarterback, where the value's eroding and bleeding out like JJ's. And JJ's one of the best buy lows in fantasy football 2026 Dynasty, period. Tonight's show will be about JJ. Tonight we will talk about, on the Dynasty channel, buying Justin Jefferson and doing it now and live in 2026 existing Dynasty or startup Dynasty drafts.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Only up can be attained. Upward trajectory can be attained for JJ. He can only go up from here. So that's good news. Kevin Stefanski has been fired, and there is a lot of rumors, talk, and buzz that Shedeur Sanders might see his poppy be considered for this head coaching job. And you know what? While a lot of people are going to come in here and say negative things about the Sanders family, Dion, Shedeur, he's so cringe, and he's so arrogant and all that. This is like, Dion is one of the most fun players to watch perform, and that's what he did. He performed, and I would love to see Deion Sanders coach his son, give his son as much chance and opportunity as he can, potentially takes this number 6 overall draft selection, grabs a Carnell Tate or a Jordan Tyson, and gets an elite wide receiver on this Cleveland Brown roster and hands Shedeur Sanders the proper keys, the ones that open all the doors. The janitor set, the universal janitor set that's got 50 keys on it. This man was handed a temporary key with a name badge that had it written on Shador, spelled wrong. He didn't even get his own name badge. He had one of those hello stickies written, my name's Shador, and here's a temporary key attached to one of those wood sticks so he wouldn't lose it. That's how Shador was treated. Give him the keys to the castle. Give him a coach that's going to over-believe in him. I like that. I'm fine with that. And let him cook. Let him develop. He didn't have a chance to develop. The things that Shador did without the proper development and support, and the actual reverse of that, it wasn't support. It was anti-support. It was negative support. It was the opposite of support. Holding him back, tying him down, and he still delivered to a degree. I'm pretty excited about this. Fannin on the rise, top 5 tight end potentially. Get him a Carnell Tate, get him a Jordan Tyson, give him a wide receiver that can excel. Maybe it's a free agent. Maybe it's George Pickens. Who knows if George Pickens stays in Dallas? Because guess what? The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones is responsible for making sure he tags him and signs him to a long-term deal. He could be tagged and traded. He could not even get tagged if Jerry wakes up the wrong side of the bed. Who knows what happens? Wandell's out there. I want a bigger name than Wandell over in Cleveland. But if Deion Sanders ends up coaching this team, I'm here for it. It also sells tickets. It also creates controversy. It's exciting. And while you rip on it, you know you want to see it. Just like the train wreck you don't want to happen, but you kind of are rooting for it to happen until it happens. Maybe we feel that way about it at the end of the day. I kind of feel like we're rooting for this thing and it could work. So I'm fine with this combination if it ends up going down. A lot of people say it won't or it will. Now, this one is hilarious. I thought this was one of those April Fool's types of posts that I stumbled upon. Titans request permission to interview Chiefs OC Matt Nagy. I'm Matt Nagy. First of all, you don't have to ask permission to interview Matt Nagy. He'd beg for you to come talk to him. And the Chiefs are probably begging them. What do you mean permission? By all means, go take him. He's yours. What do you want? What do you want? We'll pay you to take Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's so bad that he barely had an iPad. I don't think he even had a parking spot. I think he had a temporary iPad. He didn't even get his own iPad. This guy doesn't even have any role at all. And that's the way KC is. KC's Bieniemy, KC's OCs, they get water. They sometimes raise their hand in practice and say, I got an idea, coach. Hey, Andy, I got an idea. What if? Remember when Bieniemy was... The selling point for Bieniemy to become a head coach was one time he had an idea and he came to Andy Reid and he told him, and then Bieniemy's idea was implemented in the game and it worked.
Mashed potatoes.
That's why I should be a head coach. Is one day I had an idea and Andy listened to me. Matt Nagy's the biggest trash head coach in the National Football League. Any team that hires him, the Titans, good luck. The Titans are the new Jets. The Titans are going to be one of the worst franchises in the NFL for a decade. They're going to ruin Cam Ward, even if Cam Ward had upside. This is going to be one of the trashiest organizations for a decade straight. And if you're a Titan fan, you know I'm telling the truth. If this is what you're actually considering, if you don't know ball enough to know that Matt Nagy's about the worst decision a human being, an organization, a GM, an owner, a decision maker could make for your head coaching position, not to mention OC. And the only reason he didn't infect or ruin KC is because, like I just said, as the KC offensive coordinator, you're getting coffee. It was just a position. It meant nothing. Matt Nagy, this is like hiring Arthur Smith and Matt Nagy at the same time and then asking Adam Gase to be your GM. This is about the stupidest move the Titans could even consider, and that shows how irrelevant and how inept and how unready the Titans are to play football. And I just feel bad. If you're a Titan fan, you might as well trade your jerseys and find a new team because it's going to be about 10 years. Mike McDaniel, who's keeping his job, said that he thinks there will be a competition for our starting quarterback. So we'll see Ewers and what. You better not lean on Ewers. You lean on only Ewers, you're doing exactly what you did with Tua, and you're inept, and you'll be out of a job within one calendar year. Not that he's not a great offensive mind, not that he won't pick up a job somewhere and thrive right away. Think of it kind of like Miami Mike McDaniel is, and this is ironic, right? It almost makes you wonder if the coaching tree that Shanahan's creating right now is one of where he's creating half giants that will go fail on their own and not necessarily come back to haunt Shanahan. Like he's almost holding back some of the knowledge he can give these guys now, because the coaching tree from Shanahan's widespread. The Shanahans it's crazy, but lately it's like Miami Mike McDaniel was incomplete, he left. Saleh was incomplete, he left. And I kind of look at Miami Mike McDaniel the same way as Saleh. Saleh goes over and becomes an amazing, according to Niner fans. And I agree, even though the Niners lack talent on defense, Saleh is squeezing the most out of him. Saleh is an amazing defensive coordinator and an amazing motivator of men, but he's not a good head coach. Not to mention he got the New York Jets job, which kind of maybe set him up for failure. Maybe he would have grown a little bit, stayed, and then became a good head coach. Certainly possible. But it's wild that you have Saleh now looking for another head coaching job. He just hired new management in his search for maybe getting a new head coaching job. Miami Mike McDaniel lacks so many of the same things that Saleh lacks to become his own head coach. However, my point being, if Miami Mike McDaniel left and went OC somewhere, he'd thrive. His OCing, his architecting, his running an offense is really, really sound, good, electric, revolutionary. It is a little bit below Shanahan and maybe Liam Cohen, but it's fantastic. And so if he does get an OC job somewhere, he will probably thrive. Get another head coaching job. Maybe he succeeds the second time around or he fails again. But we'll see what Miami Mike does and if he allows others to help him stay in his role. Because if he can do what Shanahan has done, which is continue to thrive in the confines of the OC like track, that's why Shanahan is up for Coach of the Year, because of his OCing, because of his architecting of an offense, not because of his management of the offseason, his mismanagement of the offseason, his mismanagement of Jimmy Garoppolo, of Trey Lance, of Brandon Ayuk, of almost every single offseason situation. Like, people forget Shanahan deserves Coach of the Year because of what he's done on the field as an offensive-minded guy, not because of how he runs the team in the offseason. Those are the things that almost get him fired. Those are the things that have the fan base turning on Shanahan 1 minute, then they pretend they never did. Shanahan was on the hot seat in most every Niner fan's eyes, and 50% minimum of the Niner fan base wanted Shanahan fired before walking into the season. Now every Niner fan forgets they said it. Every Niner fan says Shanahan's the best thing in the world, and that, oh, you were the one saying it, Steve. Like, Steve will come in and go, oh, now you still like Shanahan? You were saying the same thing. Half of the Niner fan base wanted him gone. And now he looks glorious again because he's doing the offensive stuff. Just wait till the offseason comes. Let's see if Shanahan learned anything. Cooper DeJean was franchise changing, and you almost turned in the card for Cooper DeJean. Actually, the Niners were turning in the card, and Shanahan changed his mind and drafted Ricky Pearsall instead. And guess who got Cooper DeJean? The Eagles right after. So this is the kind of stuff Shanahan does over and over that everybody forgets when they're winning. Cooper DeJean, the Brandon Ayuk situation. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, over and over and over. The Deebo Samuel holdout and how that didn't work out. The Bosa holdout, how that didn't work out. Every year, this team gets decimated in the offseason because of Shanahan's tactics and what he does. And it's not all up to Shanahan. It's up to John as well. But a lot of it comes down to the coaches and the coaching, and it does fall on Shanahan. Point, I didn't mean to get off on a big tangent there. I don't even know where I was going. I don't even know where I'm going now, so let's just move on. Jonathan Gannon fired as the Cardinals head coach. This was great news, to be honest with you. We weren't sure if this is going to happen. Probably was going to. It started to lean that way at the last second, but this is great news. They were not getting the ball to MHJ. We had this conversation last night. This could be the best thing for MHJ. This could be the only concern I have is do the Cardinals, from an organizational perspective, want Kyler in place because they were weird about their money. They're weird about losing money, how they spent it, what they've already committed to. The Cardinals are not the most bright organization in the league. And so do they instruct the incoming head coach, we're hiring you if you're on board with Kyler? Well, let's just hope that's not the case. Let's just hope that is not the case. But this could be great news. Michael Wilson with Brissett. This could be great news for Brissett. If I'm a head coach and I walk in, and hopefully the Cardinals are okay with this, I'm saying Brissett's my starter. The number 3 overall pick we're going to use on, let's call it defense, let's call it whatever. We're going to build around Kyler, Michael Wilson, McBride, and Brissett. We're going to draft. I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to drafting Jeremiah Love at number 3, to be honest, even if you move down a little bit. But I don't know that I want the Cardinals to burn Jeremiah Love, because they could. The Cardinals are a very unlucky franchise, and I just don't know how much I want to put fantasy football assets on this Cardinals roster from a Cardinal fan perspective, because I know what can happen. I could just sit here and watch MHJ wither away, and it concerns me. Watch McBride teeter-tot on concern, here or there, and then he delivers all year for sure because Brissett came in. Like, Kyler wasn't delivering. Kyler didn't deliver for anybody. And so the Cardinals concern me from an organizational perspective, top down. Do they make the right decisions? And I don't know that they draft Jeremiah Love, but who knows if they would, or if they trade down to draft him. But it's certainly, we don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. Kubiak, as I said, Atlanta is looking to hire Kubiak. Kubiak in Atlanta or Kubiak in LV, both would be fantastic for Bijan, Jeanty, the entire, Bowers, Pitts, like the entire Arsenal, London, all of it would be good. You want London to have the JSN season, then you want Kubiak in Atlanta. You want Brock Bowers and Jeanty to thrive like the Seattle rushing attack Charbonnet's been thriving. Now, you could be concerned about potentially a committee of sorts in some context, but I don't think you would with Jeanty. Genty's more of, we'll hear people say it, and because we dismiss sometimes these tendencies, and we say, oh, no, the talent went out, we'll consider like talking about it, obviously. But you also don't have a Jeanty on the roster over in Seattle. You have 2 very comparable, very good running backs in Charbonnet and also Walker, but Jeanty would be different. Plus, there's no other second back. They could bring it in, though. They could draft it. Who knows? But Kubiak certainly would be an upgrade from an offensive perspective. It would be fantastic. Joe Flacco does not want to retire. He wants to play football. This could be good for a team that needs a bridge quarterback. Maybe it would be like the Raiders who draft Mendoza and don't want him to start till week 5. Who knows? I'd rather have Mendoza just start and learn on the job. Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen wants to keep Danny Dimes as his quarterback. We'll see how that plays out, his recovery. I think that it's certainly looking more likely than not. And then, of course, I already talked about this, but Pete Carroll fired. The Wicked Witch is dead. The Wicked Witch. I never want to celebrate someone being fired. Okay, because I think there's room for everybody to succeed and crush in this world. So I'm not excited that he lost his job, but I hope that he finds a better job. I hope it's higher paying. I hope it's in broadcasting or, I don't know, muffin making, whatever. Maybe he works at Crimerica Industries. Who knows? I wish him well. So under the assumption that he finds better... Whoops. Wrong button. Under the assumption that the Wicked Witch finds a better paying job and has his life upgraded, we can celebrate that the Wicked Witch is dead. Okay. So, I got super chats here waiting. I'm sorry about the delay on this one. Coach, appreciate you. His Hendiness, Sir Travion Henderson is my nominee. He will definitely be on the list. Don't worry about it. Daniel, appreciate you. What's Daniel saying? One on the bold call board from before 2025 NFL draft. Who won? Who won? We're going over all the bold predictions at the end of the Super Bowl because there's a couple of Super Bowl predictions. So I just decided I set a hard date because if we stumble upon one that needs to be decided later, I don't want to have to revote again. We're voting once the season's completely concluded, the NFL season. So we'll vote on that. Dion head coach, LeBron GM, says Coach. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your super chats. Thank you for dropping those. Let me go over to the Rumble side of the fence and see who's over on Rumble. I've got New Age Outlaw gifting 1 membership over on Rumble. New Age
meatloaf.
New Age, are you there? Appreciate you. Thank you so much, my man. New Age over here. Cake over here. We got Landman over on the Rumble side of the fence. We've got Golf again. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Guys, everybody in the chat over on Rumble, file on in. Appreciate every single one of you. Landman in the building. Landman and New Age, you still there? Appreciate you both. Thank you for that gifted membership. New Age, you're the man, the myth, the legend. Wow, what a lot of information we just dropped. And then don't forget to watch my video that I did where I broke down my Super Bowl predictions. That's not it, but that's good information. That is wrong, though. Let me see. That is wrong. We'll fix that. That's the Dynasty channel. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, I'll have to find. The Dynasty channel is Dynasty Fantasy Football. So the Fantasy Football Show on YouTube, Dynasty Fantasy Football on YouTube. Rumble is the Fantasy Football Show. Patreon is patreon.com/the Fantasy Football Show. TheFantasyFootballShow.com. The Fantasy Football Show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and The Fantasy Football Show on Instagram. Everything is The Fantasy Football Show. Pretty easy. And then Dynasty Fantasy Football is the Dynasty channel. That's the only difference. But what I was going to say here was, where is this right here? Oh, my NFL picks. I put this video up. Make sure you go watch it. I did end up changing. Travis, you'll be happy about this. I couldn't go through with the Jacksonville call. I do believe it could be the thing that breaks my bracket. I'll admit that, but I went with Buffalo. I have to go with my heart. I'm always a Buffalo Bill supporter, if you haven't picked up on that. And so Bills are a team that I root for greatly. Half my family is from Buffalo. That's why I'm Cardinals and Buffalo. Half my existence comes from Buffalo. Half of my existence comes from here. But Buffalo Bills, I think are probably, this could be part heart. I definitely switched it using a little bit of my heart, not my brain. But I do think that every time I bet on Trevor Lawrence, he fails me. And every time I don't bet on him, he wins and fails me. So neither way that I went, it would have been the opposite for the simulation, and I just would have missed. So it almost doesn't matter. You know, if I would have picked him, it wouldn't have worked. If I would have picked him, it wouldn't have worked. So it's just part of the simulation. But here are my picks. I got a whole video that explains every single one of these. We can talk about this at any moment. So there it is. The Fantasy Football Show, you're live. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Emma, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
What's going on? What can I do for you?
I was curious why Sam Darnold isn't talked about as much as he should be, considering the season he had. And I was previously told by someone that him and only Tom Brady are the ones to have 14 wins in a season. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah, well, Sam, did your dad ask you to call in about Sam Darnold? Is that what's going on here?
No.
Okay, well, Darnold is a quarterback that's very system geared. He's very much like the Darnold that we saw in Minnesota. He's very much like Purdy in San Francisco. If everything's going right and functioning properly, then the reason I asked that is because we've got a guy in here that goes crazy about Sam Darnold, and I just wondered if that's where this was deriving from, because I get in arguments about Darnold. One specific person calls in and argues about Darnold, and I just thought, is he sending his relatives in here to try and communicate his message about Darnold? Darnold's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Everybody in the National Football League is a good quarterback. You know, like Darnold, like I'm not going to sit here and trash Darnold and say Darnold's not a good quarterback. Like, he's in the National Football League. And there is some good qualities about him, just like there's some good qualities about Jared Goff. But Darnold and Goff and Purdy and a few other quarterbacks that fit into that territory, if everything goes right, they play well. And game managers, it's not necessarily a negative thing if the offense and the defense and the entire team is conducive and fits together, and they can as a unit march through a playoff series of playoff wins and win a Super Bowl. Like Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl for the Ravens, and he was not an elite quarterback on any level. I think Darnold is capable because he has such a good defense and he is such a good offensive coordinator in Kubiak. He's got such an amazing wide receiver in JSN, and he should be given flowers for helping put JSN in that top tier in cementing JSN as a top 3 wide receiver in this league. And I am a little bit concerned about when Kubiak leaves next year for a head coaching job, what's going to happen to Darnold? Is he going to turn into exactly what Goff turned into this year? Is he going to turn into what Baker Mayfield turned into this year? Because losing such a really good architect of an offense like Kubes and like Liam Cohen and also like Ben Johnson, it can be detrimental to the flow and everything, staying in unison. So I think the reason I don't talk about Darnold, and I don't mean to be offend the stance that you might have, is I just, we talk about him when it comes up. I'll talk about anybody. You can, like, just a phone call, you can talk about anybody. But he's not an elite quarterback to me. But I think he had a really good year. And there were moments in pockets in the season where we're like, oh, wow, he played amazing today. Like, and then there's times where like, oh, there he is. It's kind of like Trevor Lawrence, though. That's why I'm a little afraid to fully commit to Trevor Lawrence, because he's been so bad at times. But I don't know. I'll tell you this, looking at the picks here, Seattle, if the Niners had won in week 18 and clinched that number 1 seed, the Niners would be sitting in this easy path to the NFC Championship game. Right now, Seattle is sitting in that spot, and it feels so different. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco's got to go through Philly, and depending on what happens with Green Bay would go play Seattle if Green Bay won. And if Green Bay loses, and let's say San Fran were to win, San Fran goes to play Seattle. It's just a rough road. It's a rough road for the Niners. Seattle, I will tell you, if you're a big Seattle fan, I assume you are, right?
No, not really, actually.
Okay, is your dad?
Bengals fans.
Just be honest with me. I've been doing this a long time. Did your dad have you call in for Sam Darnold?
No, my father does not know who you are.
Okay. just curious. So why do you like Sam?
I'm a woman?
Why do you like Sam Darnold so much?
I don't. I was just having a conversation with a friend, and I realized he had such a good season, but nobody talks about him. So I was confused why he wasn't getting as much.
He's had a good year. He's had a good year. He's had a good year. I like Darnold, but when someone says something like, he and Tom Brady or he and Drake May are the only ones, to me that sounds like somebody created a narrative, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no way this man should be being compared to the greats at any moment in time. Like, he's just not. I don't care what stat you could fall into, but that's usually what someone says when they're trying to defend, not you, but whoever said that. You said somebody said that to you. It's trying to defend Sam Darnold and fit him into a box. Like, Sam Darnold's this unicorn. He's not. He's a good quarterback, but I worry greatly about what's going to happen to him once Kubiak leaves. Just like Baker, just like Goff. So we'll see what happens. But it's a good topic. Like, you brought up a really good topic. There are people that really, really have gone to war with me on the phone line about Sam Darnold, and they've lost. But, he has had a good year. Would there be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that would love to have Sam Darnold as their quarterback? Absolutely. He's not bad by any means. And he's still getting better. Like, he had a little bit of a stunted growth, so we don't really know what his full ceiling is. But he's not an elite quarterback by any means. He has a very elite offensive coordinator, a very elite team with one of the best, not elite defense, one of the top 2-3 defenses in the National Football League, which can very much help Sam Darnold look better than he is, which at the end of the day, and it sounds like you're not a Seattle fan, but if you were a Seattle fan, that's great news, because you have a team that is dangerous. And as I said right here, I certainly believe that the pathway is pretty clear and wide open for Seattle because they won't have to face Philly. This is a wide open pathway straight down to the championship game. So good news for if you're a Darnold fan, I suppose. Anything else? What else you got on your mind? What about the news today? Did you want to speak on?
About Zach Taylor?
Okay.
Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, I mean, sure. What do you want to talk about with Zach Taylor? There's going to be no potential changes, and is that good or bad?
Personally, I am not a fan of him or any of our organization, especially Mike Brown. He needs to sell, but I'm not excited.
So you're a Bengal fan? You're a Bengal fan?
Yes.
That's good. You're in good company. Yeah. For now. I mean, you're in good company of people that like the Bengals. Not you're in good company of the Bengals. I just mean, I think that Joe Burrow isn't going anywhere. If you're worried about any of that, but this is definitely a make or break year for the band staying together. Even though you have,
Even if you so earlier you were saying how Joe Burrow this might be his last year. Do you think other players would consider it as well, even if we did get a better? I mean, we wouldn't get a better trade.
It would be hard to. He has leverage because he's the quarterback. Because he could, if he was to play hardball in the offseason, it could destroy everything. And if they can't win with him, they're paying him so much money, and there's such a commitment that he would have leverage to say, I'm not happy, I want out. And it would be really, really hard to not have this boat rocking constantly and destroy everything around it. And if they already can't win with him, they will consider it next offseason. This offseason, they will not. I know a lot of people are saying that, trying to get clicks and views, but Joe Burrow's dead cap is to the moon. You can't even, the only thing he could do is do some unconventional, never seen before, let me take my contract and get rid of all the guaranteed money, which would work because he would just get paid from his new team. He'd get a new contract when he moves over. So, but he's certainly going to just give the Bengals one shot. This is a shot across the bow. Unless he doesn't like the decision that was made to keep the staff in place, if that was kind of what he was waiting for, he could create a stink. But I don't think Joe Burrow wants out now. He loves T. Higgins. He loves Jamar Chase. He convinced those two guys to stay. So in a way,
Do you think they would follow him though if he
they
did
can't
leave?
though. They can't follow him. There's no way a team could trade for both of them, and those guys are just inked to brand new contracts. Joe Burrow is the only one that could find a way to wiggle out of his situation, but it wouldn't be this season. It would be next season, and it would still be like moving mountains to have it happen. But it's certainly possible. But I think you got a year to see how it plays out. The Bengals better focus on defense, I'll tell you that. And they've got the offense in place. They just need field position. They need to make sure they tweak everything that they can around protecting Joe Burrow offensive line, get everything tightened up. But it really just comes down to having a defense that can get the ball put in Joe Burrow's hands at the 50-yard line instead of backed into his own, the 5-yard line. That's where it's becoming a mess. But it certainly could be one more year before things get really messy if they end up screwing it up as an organization. Because the Bengals are definitely not a well-run organization at all. I just mean when I said you're in good company, you're in good company because we're big Joe Burrow fans. We're big Bengal fans here. We love the Bengal boys. And we hope that things, turn around for him. I don't want him going anywhere at all. All right, anything else?
No, that's all.
All right, thanks for calling. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
Denny called in. Denny, call in. Denny called in. I must have missed Denny's call. Denny, dial in if you're still watching. All right, I think I've got all the super chats taken care of here. Thank you all for dropping those. Any super chats that come in, I'll answer in order what you receive the phone lines here. Wrong button.
Live from the Fantasy Football Show.
Wrong button.
Call into the show.
I keep hitting that button. I got to move it. I keep hitting it. Ron Navy, congratulations. You're live. Congratulations on the Steelers accidentally winning that Week 18 game and getting into the playoffs. Congratulations.
It wasn't an accident. They should have lost that game, and they should have lost the first game they played Baltimore. It was because of the refs. Something's fishy going on, and that could screw up your bracket picking Houston over Pittsburgh, because if something fishy's going on, the refs could decide this game against Houston, and that could screw up your bracket. I don't disagree with you. I think Houston should win the game, just like I thought Baltimore should have won this last game, and Pittsburgh should have been out of it. But there's something fishy going on that, it makes no sense.
Hey,
did you notice at the end of that game, right? Pittsburgh should have been called. There should have been a penalty because he should have been called for leverage, because he went over the middle, he put his hands on the defensive players and pushed off on them, and it should have been called leverage.
Yeah. And by the way, Travis said good call, Emma. Emma actually sat in the ring, took a couple punches against the ropes, and did really well. Like I definitely I don't think I was rude or anything. I think some people said a couple people said I was. But Emma had a good question. There are two really good questions. Sat in the ring and went straight all 12 rounds. That was a great job. So Emma, congratulations. All right, go ahead.
I understand. I understand why you asked her if her father had her call in, but she took that, I think, a little bit because she made it because I'm a woman.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't so much that, it was that the question wasn't necessarily for her. So it
right.
and you could tell, that wasn't, and I've been doing this a long time. Like, that question felt scripted, and out of all questions, why would you ask that if you don't really care about it? Like, someone gave that, but then Emma came in with her own question about the Bengals, and then it turned into a much even better conversation. But anyway, it felt like a little bit of a scripted question.
Your show has a lot of very smart women NFL fans on your show. There's a ton of them that listen to your show that are very, and they're really good at fantasy football too. And I knew you weren't. I knew you didn't say that because that's the point. I knew you didn't say that because she was a woman. But I'm just saying that's what she thought for a second.
I do try and be fair.
Like that.
I do try and be fair, and fair to me is not treating someone any different. So if Emma calls in and I smell something fishy along the lines of what you're talking about with smelling something fishy with the NFL, I called it out. Right. I called it out.
You played into the best of us.
Yeah. I called it out because I felt like it, treating anybody unfairly would be, I think, the actual unfair thing. So everybody gets it. Everybody gets it the same way.
Yeah. So anyways, I think the other thing with your bracket, I know you're a diehard Buffalo fan, but I think Jacksonville beats Buffalo in Jacksonville. I think if it was in Buffalo, but I don't like the way Allen's been playing lately. I do not like the way he's been playing lately, and I think Jacksonville's Cohen's got them. They're rocking and rolling. That's what I think. I mean, well, I understand why you picked Buffalo.
I guess the way that I'm going about it is that it's different when they get in the playoffs, and we just saw the Rams fold one week and then they bounce back, but they looked awful. Like, anybody can look awful, and going against Josh Allen in the playoffs is something different than going against him in the regular season. So I can't wait to see. It's going to be a fun game. And honestly, if the Jacksonville Jaguars win, part of my logic was telling me to go with that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. A BBQ with a $10 hauler. The elephant in the room for the Bengals is the three players are getting paid 50% of the cap. They either draft perfect with rookie contracts or they will continue to be great for fantasy, and that's it. It's true. That does, especially if they rework deals and stuff and such, some of it's about the financial aspects of building these contracts, because you can then have flexibility. Like, a perfect example is Mahomes. The longer the contract, the better. And so Joe Burrow has some wiggle room to move stuff and not lose money, but restructure. But when Mahomes signed his 10-year, $500 million deal many years ago, everyone didn't know contracts or football. It was like, they'll never sign another player again. But that contract, you can keep kicking the can down the road until $500 million isn't even big anymore when you get near the end of it. And he'll get a new extension. But that's why the Chiefs have been so good about building is they kicked all that money down the road, and Mahomes is a big reason why they did that. So we'll see what the Bengals do and how they've constructed some of these deals. Some of the finer details will obviously tell more of a story, like 1 year from now, how much money opens up and can they move some of Burrow's money. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of ability, I think, to fix this team. There's a lot of desire to play with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, regardless of how they've played. This is a team that made a Super Bowl appearance recently. This is a team that has so much firepower and ability and they'd be a fun team to play for. I don't think anybody looks at them in a negative way, like, oh, I don't want to play for the Bengals. I think it's a really, really desirable place to go play. And I don't know. We just got to see if they make the right moves in the offseason. We've seen this organization make mistakes over and over and over. Even in the draft of Jamar Chase, when I said the move was to draft Chase, and I've argued with tons of people on that, and I was right. They made it all the way to a Super Bowl because of that decision. Just because they lost doesn't mean it wasn't the right choice. But Joe Burrow getting Jamar Chase, getting T. Higgins, these are all important pieces of the equation. And at the end of the day, they just need to make sure they tweak the right things. And they didn't in that draft, though, as an example. They drafted the right player in Jamar Chase, but then they drafted like 2 makeshift offensive linemen. And they didn't even address the offensive line properly in the year where they said, draft Penei Sewell, don't draft Jamar Chase. And it's like, I said, draft Jamar Chase, grab a second-round lineman that kind of deserves to be in round 1, and you can coach the lineman up. You can never coach a receiver into being Jamar Chase. You can coach a lineman into being closer to Penei Sewell. Not saying he will be, but closer to Penei Sewell than you can ever coach a wide receiver that's drafted rounds later into Jamar Chase. But what did the Bengals do? They did half of what I said to do, and then they drafted makeshift offensive linemen, and they didn't even do the proper build at the offensive line, second round, third round territory. So like, they can screw this up for sure. And to the caller's point, you know, it's you're in good company. I said I was meaning, you know, but she was like, no, I don't know, maybe not. And that's true. We don't know what is going to happen in Cincinnati. It very much could fall apart. And if it does, Joe Burrow will be very problematic and cause a little bit of a ruckus in 2027 offseason. So we'll see. What do you think about Pete Carroll being fired? I think that, again, never want someone to be fired. I'm not happy about that. I hope he finds success somewhere in his Crimerica Industries venture. But we do love it for fantasy football.
I think we're going to see the reintroduction of John Gruden with the the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Gruden's going to go and coach them.
Might be.
The owner loves Gruden. He got rid of him reluctantly. He didn't want to fire him. And in fact, he backed them in his lawsuits and stuff. They wouldn't. So I don't know. Something tells me that Gruden's going to probably be the next coach of the Raiders again.
Mike Tomlin has missed
Which isn't a bad thing.
Lost in the playoffs for 8 straight years. This makes number 9.
Yeah. Everybody's all excited. No, they won the North by luck, by referees' help or whatever they wanted. But they shouldn't beat Houston. They should not beat Houston.
Like I said,
it will have the same thing year after year.
It's like that meme I said, that meme of the Office actor shaking the hands. He's got the mullet and the fanny pack on, and he's shaking hands. And he's like surprised that he, like, yeah, I don't know how I did it, but like Tomlin tripped and fell into the playoffs. He tripped, fell, and rolled in and stood up, and he was in the playoffs. Everyone was clapping. He just, I meant to.
Did you hear it?
I meant to do.
Did you
this.
hear his comment he made when they asked him a question about, you know, if the difference of that field goal going to the playoffs or not going to the playoffs? And you hear what he said? He said, and this is just shows.
Yeah, I heard it.
He said, "Well, if my aunt had nail parts, she'd be my uncle."
Yeah, I heard that. Tomlin's just. I don't understand why anybody thinks he's he should be staying in Pittsburgh. Like, anybody that argues it, I don't even understand it. Like, it's time to move on. It doesn't matter if he's been such a winning head coach. What matters is what you do time and time again when you get in the playoffs and you can't deliver. Darnold is
exactly. He has a losing playoff record.
Sick Nasty over on Rumble says Darnold is just one of them dudes that sees ghosts sometimes. It's not going to change. Even in Minnesota couldn't beat it out of him. I agree with you. I think that Darnold is like the people that call in and argue about Darnold are irrational. That's why initially the call went the way it started to go. I don't know if the caller knew that, but there have been a lot of irrational Darnold arguers that usually get like kicked off the phone line or get booted from the channel because they can't even think straight. They're like, Darnold's elite. Don't you look at the data? Haven't you looked at the data? The data says Darnold's elite. Like they're forced. They're like, if you look at this one line on this Excel sheet and it shows him green lit, like that means he might be elite. Everyone's trying to fit Darnold a square, a round peg in a square hole. Like they're just like,
but
mediocre.
With that though, he only spent 1 year with Minnesota, and they got rid of him because of his performance in the playoffs. Right. This year, he's back in the playoffs, so I think we got to give him a little bit of. I'm
giving.
I'm not saying he's elite, but I'm just saying
that's what I'm saying.
And I don't think there's very few quarterbacks that aren't elite without a good system. Without a good system,
that's what I said.
What
the
I'm
whole time,
saying,
though. That's what I said the whole argument.
And it's like Brady with Belichick. You think if Brady would have been with a different coach when he started out, that he would have had the success? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Probably.
But they were that system that they ran was a great system. But Brady went to a different team and won another Super Bowl. So that tells you a lot about Brady being the elite quarterback that he is, right?
As soon as Brady left, Belichick fell apart. I think we know what came first, the chicken or the egg there.
I know. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
But my point is, I argued the whole time on that phone call, and I will now, is that Darnold is good. But Darnold is never going to be great, never has been great. He can play great sometimes because situations can amplify good into great. But at the end of the day, as Sig Nasty said, he's always going to revert back to that Darnold of old at some point. And my concern for, again, JSN is losing Kubes to a head coaching job, and Kubiak's gone. That boy's got a head coaching job just waiting for him because of what he did in Seattle.
Well, look at the difference. Look at the difference in Tampa Bay last year and Tampa Bay this year. That's why I think Jacksonville is going to beat Buffalo, because I think it's their coach that's got them firing on all cylinders right now, and they're all playing as a one big great unit. Actually, they're firing on all cylinders right now.
Hold on 1 second. Let me BBQ who dropped $100 holler. BBQ, you straight up savage. Not sure if I'm going to manage any teams this year. What? But off-season fantasy football show is lit. Love the analysis, the knowledge, the comedy, and fun. Best community mods show in the business. Thank you, Smitty, for the great year. BBQ, I don't like the sound of this. I don't like the sound of this at all.
Maybe that mean he didn't have that great of?
Well, he had
success this year, which a lot of us didn't. BBQ, I didn't have crap for success.
BBQ had some.
In any of my, I had lousy underdog, lousy everything this year. It wasn't good at all.
Now, I don't think BBQ's leaving, but I think what he's saying, he just said I'm not leaving, but he might be like.
No.
He might be like a silent.
Back on.
I don't know. I still don't like the idea of that. I think he's just saying
it's
January 5. A lot of people go through this.
Yeah.
Someone breaks up with
I
someone.
I do.
I'm never dating again. I'm never dating again.
Me do it. You've heard me tell you. I'm just like done with fantasy football.
You told me
I'm
over and
done.
over.
This is the worst year ever.
I'm never dating again. It was such a bad experience. Next month. Well, it just happened. BBQ is going to happen to fall into BBQ. I don't like the sound of that though. Although I will say this: if BBQ is thinking about it like this, but it's different for me because I'm creating content. I've always wondered, and I wouldn't be able to do it. Not to mention Underdog. I have to play, I have to draft all. But I've always wondered what it would be like to run this channel 1 year without drafting a single team. How unbiased would I be? Because I could just, but I think I'm pretty unbiased as it is. Like, even if I've got so many players on teams and I'll talk trash about that player, and I already own them and it doesn't affect me. But I wonder if it'd give me a slight edge that I don't have. But the bottom line is it could do the opposite. Having that latching onto a player that you have talked up, and then they, you can ride it through instead of maybe I give up on a player quicker or something than I shouldn't. I don't know. It's always kind of like made me wonder. But hopefully
this year's been especially tough with all the injuries.
Yeah, hopefully BBQ changes his mind, though. I don't want to see BBQ super chats all year that don't have, his success of this player or that player in it. BBQ, I don't like this. I hope that you change your mind. But all right,
BBQ, he's always come out with he's always had great insight on players and teams, and I don't see him. I see it just as bad luck. I think BBQ has a lot of knowledge, and I think he's been successful in the past running.
But he didn't have bad luck. You're
just
assuming,
had a bad year, maybe. I don't know.
But you're assuming that. I've seen him actually have a good year. Like he's posted it. I've seen it. They can say, in the championship here. Like I don't think he had a bad year. Maybe he lost in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or in the championship game. But I know he made it to a lot of championship opportunities. I think.
He said I'm working on the data.
Okay. All right.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, he said he didn't have a bad year. I remember him being in championship games.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Ron? Actually, real quickly.
The only other thing. What?
Real quickly, don't take very long.
Then I'm going to go.
I just want, don't take very long on this. I just want you to tell me who is going to show up in the championship games. Denver, Buffalo, New England, Houston, Pittsburgh. Who's going to be in the AFC championship game? I have Denver, New England. Do you have Buffalo? Do you have Pittsburgh? Who do you have?
I think it's going to be probably New England, and I don't know what the pass. Can it possibly be New England or Jacksonville, or do they got to play a game prior to the championship?
It depends. No, so if let's say Jacksonville wins, then Buffalo's out, and then it comes down to do the Chargers win or New England? If New England and Jacksonville both win, then that means that they'll face each other down here, and the 5-4 seeds will be the highest seeds to go over here. So New England. So it all just kind of depends on the bracket. But just go ahead, throw it out. It doesn't matter. Just throw it out. Who do you think will face off?
Well, I kind of think the best two teams are right now is Jacksonville, New England. I mean, I like Denver's defense, but I don't think Denver makes it all the way.
It pretty much can't happen because they're the.
I really love New England's chance this year.
Yeah, they're the 2 and 3. There's always going to be a higher seed that's going to go up here. So yeah, it can't be.
Yeah.
All right, give me the NFC side. So let's say pick a winner from the NFC, because you got to pick one of those teams then, and then pick your NFC winner.
I think it could very easily be Seattle and the Rams playing again for the championship.
All right.
For the NFC.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just got some news. Guess what? Not only am I diabetic, I just got my blood test, and now I'm anemic. So I've been battling that. That's why I haven't been around.
Damn. Ron, I'm sorry to hear that.
They got to figure out why I'm anemic. My red blood cells are high, and my iron's low, and all this other stuff. So I don't know.
You know what can help with that?
Oh.
Ashton Jeanty's got a new head coach.
Let him cook.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
All right, Ron, appreciate you calling more often, though. Hope you feel better. All right, later.
Well, I'll try. Later.
All right. Couple more phone calls, then we're back at midnight.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Back at midnight. fantasy playoff rankings. I'll have rankings for those soon. Yeah, John, relax. John. All right. How about week 18, Smitty? What about it? Week 18 what? Where's Denny? Denny called in, and then, I don't know, I missed his call. He called in like right, I think on that last call. I must have missed it. I don't know. 240, you're live. Who's this?
Landman.
What's up, Landman?
Not much, man. I'm just taking in all the news. The potpourri of good news here.
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, there wasn't really anything negative. The Malik Nabers is a negative. People are just, I'd be like saying, you know, hey, Smitty, if you ended up, you know, getting a concussion, would you play? If I got a concussion, I would. Like, they're asking a man on January 5 whether he's playing week 1. And he's like, if I'm ready, I'll play. If I'm not ready, I won't play. Like, that's all he said. And everyone's like, oh my God, Malik Nabers is not going to play week 1. Like, anybody that thinks that doesn't know what in the hell they're talking about. And I love it. And it makes his value go down perception-wise. And it makes us smile from ear to ear because we get to draft Nabers now where? 3.1? If we're drafting today, Nabers goes 3.1 now. Because of all this panic. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I had him this year at 3-1.
Unbelievable.
I picked, yeah.
Best news I've heard. This was better news than the Ashton Jeanty news, to be honest. To get Nabers even cheaper now and bake in any more risk that could be present. Is there a world where he has a setback? Of course, he's an ACL tear. You know, an ACL tear and other damage to the knee that I think is going to be fine. But is there a setback potentially that could happen for anyone in that situation? Absolutely. So bake in as much risk as we can. That's great. But there's a chance that maybe slow rolled out in week 1 and 2 and 3. But, I mean, does anybody understand that Puka Nacua and Malik Nabers, all these guys that, like Jamar Chase, they can miss 2 or 3 games and still be a top 4 overall wide receiver on the year, not just like per game, like on the year. Look at Puka Nacua. He misses 2 or 3 games, and he's just still, you know, a top 3 guy. It doesn't matter. Nabers to the moon.
No, I agree. I tell you what, though, I don't know what it is, but some real excitement got blown into the Raiders today.
Heck yeah. You know why is what I said. I think that Tom Brady didn't have a lot of say. He consulted and probably said yes or no to decisions that were kind of already made or in motion. You know, like, what do you think about, we got Geno coming? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is what I would advise you to do. Since you already decided on Geno, I would make him do this, or I'd try and do this. But I have a feeling that things went so bad. You know that meme where Tom Brady's sitting there in court, and then he looks over and he goes, like, I have a feeling Tom was sitting there and somebody came up to him and just like, Tom, we need you now. You were right. And Tom's grinning. And I think Tom's going to have a heavier hand in what happens. Mendoza is going to be a Las Vegas Raider. And there's not a better thing I can think of. Now, is he a lock? The Raiders to draft Mendoza? Probably. Is he a lock to be the guy and produce, or does he turn into, you know, a Zach Wilson or something like that? I mean, it's certainly possible. These hits on these quarterbacks are not 100%. And you can only predict so much because of situation, injury, and, you know, look at how bad T. Law looked like a bust, and now he looks good. Some of it is the environment. But I'm very excited about the Raiders right now. Jeanty, Bowers returns to glory. Jeanty on the rise. They're both Smitty approved. We put Jeanty and Bowers on the bold predictions today. The Saturn man number 1 is Brock.
The Saturn men.
One small step.
And
the Jupiter men.
Jeanty, Jupiter man. All right, what else you got, Landman?
No, I'm good. Let some of the other calls come in. I took a lot last night and everything like that. I saw, though, you did retreat back to the to the Bills.
I did.
That's a personal thing. Family's number one, man.
Well, it's not personal. Like I am using my brain, Landman, with that move too. It's not all gut instinct or all home. Being a homer. I still think that the Buffalo is so dangerous. Josh Allen, he is probably the most capable to win any one game. The thing is, can he win consecutive games by himself? Because he has no help if Cook is ever neutralized. He can't, so that's why he fails to win a Super Bowl. They don't get an elite wide receiver in there. But any one game against any one team, Josh Allen could just go nuclear. And I don't know.
Be a good game.
I just think the Jacksonville Jaguars, you can't sit here and tell me there isn't a almost equal chance that Trevor Lawrence fails you as much as Trevor Lawrence excels, because he's done both. He's been in both positions. He's struggled this year and excelled this year. He's playing unbelievable.
I've dropped him, added him more than third period French.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So how is it, I'm taking it in jest. I'm not thinking it's a dig or anything, but I'm just repeating what you said. But how is it you retreated? Oh, you got to go with the fam. Almost like it wasn't even it's not even calculated. T-Law's T-Law. He could be really good or it could be really bad. It's a 50% chance to go either way. It doesn't feel like an 80-20. It feels like very 50-50 that the law dog will expire, his milk will expire, or it could be back on the shelves like the McRib getting completely ceremonialized and inserted into the full-time menu at McDonald's. Right now, he's a McRib. Right now, we don't know if it's temporary. This is the holiday frappe that they have that goes away after January 1. We just don't know. We don't know. And it turned January 1, ironically. We'll see if he's good in 2026. He was good in 2025.
I think Coach Cohen has really centered him, though.
Really did. He really did. Of course. I mean, that's the thing. That's, of course, the weighing piece of this. But I don't know. You take away that run game, I wonder what happens. So we'll see.
That's why they play the games.
That's why they play. And if there's one thing I'm worried about, it's that game right here, the Buffalo-Jacksonville or the Philly-LAR. That one's, or actually, that one and this Green Bay-Chicago. I feel like I'm torn on this one. Green Bay is not good enough to win this game in some respects, but does Ben Johnson, I feel like Ben Johnson's the best part about that matchup. So part of me wants to switch that because I think Ben Johnson can win. His defense can win. Caleb doesn't necessarily need to win or lose this game. It could be just Caleb manages the game and the Chicago defense picks off Jordan Love for a pick six and the defense wins the game. I'm tempted to switch it because I think I almost want to bet on Ben Johnson before I'm betting on anything else. But I do think Green Bay has weapons, and I think that if they run the ball well and Chicago's, they definitely give up a lot. It's opportunistic defense for sure. They cause turnovers like no other, but they're definitely leaky, just like the damn San Francisco 49er defense. So I think the Green Bay Packers could run the hell out of the ball. We'll just see. It's going to come down to that. Does Jacobs, Wilson combine, create some sort of devastating number and just stack yards on yards? Then they win. If they don't, and Chicago can shut them down or get up early because of a pick six or something, and then all of a sudden the Green Bay Packers have to throw their way back into it, they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's tough to play a team 3 times in a season. What was the season record? Were they 1-1? Did they split?
I forget.
All right, yeah. It doesn't matter what happened at the beginning of the year. It's at the end of the year. So, all right, man, I'll let you go and everything else like that. You're still the GOAT, man.
All right. I'm still, did something happen? All right, later.
You're a little sensitive.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just the wording tonight. All right, later, Landman. Appreciate you. Bye.
Take care.
You're still okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, you made your Jacksonville Jaguar trade. You're human. You're only human. All right. BBQ says this offseason is going to see a lot of moving parts. Players, coordinators, coaches. This show will be more important than ever. Get plugged in. That's why I'm a little bit like, I think everybody's a little bit thrown back by, it's almost like one of the generals of the army walk up to the soldiers and they say, we're going to be there for each other. We're going to win, but I'm not going to participate. We don't, BBQ, we need you in the foxhole, pal. I don't want you from a chopper with a megaphone telling us what to do over here. We need you in the actual foxhole. but you're still the GOAT. Don't worry about it. Landman. All right, Landman, thanks for the call. New Age, thank you for the gifted membership over in Rumble Land. New Age dropped another gifted membership. I just saw that. New Age, thank you very much, pal. All right, guys, we'll be back at midnight Eastern. We'll see you later. Thank you for all the super chats. I can't believe BBQ dropping the $100 hauler. We still got a 20 from Anthony tonight. Still cooking. Appreciate every single one of you. What great news we got all around. What a great show. Go check out my other video that is up right now that breaks down this right here. I go through every single pick. It is up on the YouTube channel, and then we'll be live on Dynasty tonight about buying Justin Jefferson. See you all at midnight Eastern on this main channel, and then live on the Dynasty channel. The link to the Dynasty channel is right here. Please subscribe to the Dynasty channel. It is right here. Boom. I'll pin that link in the live chat. Don't forget to get on over to the 365 live chat Patreon, ladies and gentlemen, where we're talking 24/7, 365. It's your new group chat. You want a place to congregate, vent, talk about trades. Boom. There's the link right there. And for those that don't know, I got into the business because there was no trade calculator in 2002/2003 that I could find. I scoured the internet. I was just like all of you looking for fantasy football content. And then one day I said, you know what? I can't find a trade calculator. I can't find content that's year round. I wanted redraft rankings in March and nobody did it. Everybody laughed at me when I said that. Tell my buddies, like, let's do a ranking session. Let's go ahead and draft in March for August on redraft, because Dynasty wasn't even as prevalent. And my friends would laugh at me and they'd say, you don't do rankings in March. You mean the free agency. We don't even know where the rookies are going to land. You want to rank rookies right now in March? And I'm like, yes, I do. I couldn't find trade calculators. So 2003, when your boy was just a young man, I got into the industry and I created content, and I've been doing that for over 20 years. That's what I've been doing full time for 20 years. TheFantasyFootballShow.com. All the rookies are injected into these rankings. All of the rankings you see here are 365, 24/7. All of them have the rookies included. The trade calculator has the rookies included. Everything's ready to go. The bold predictions, there's already a bold prediction up. I'll have two more tonight. That'll be more explanation behind the ones that you see on the bold predictions. The Mars men, Jupiter men, Saturn men, a lot of times they will coincide, but you'll get a lot of the written, added bonus, added commentary as to why there are some. A lot of times a prediction will drop on the fantasyfootballshow.com the day or two before I put it on the YouTube channel, so look for that. So get on over to that. That link is right here for the fantasyfootballshow.com. Bold predictions, rankings, all that. See you all at midnight Eastern. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, moderators. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you all for all you did this year, too. I mean, still very grateful to Travis, Blackbeard, Sick Nasty, Space Ricky, DeBalt, Simi Valley, Vampy, Kenny Powers if he's out there, Doobie Snacks if he's out there. Who else am I forgetting? I added Simi, I added DeBalt. Who else am I forgetting? Anybody remember one that I'm forgetting? Appreciate you all. Deuce! See you at midnight on the main channel, then over to the Dynasty channel. And if you're watching, please subscribe to Rumble. My Rumblers over there. Appreciate all my Rumblers over there on Rumble right now. There's the Rumble link if you want to subscribe. There will be Rumble exclusives. New Age Outlaw, appreciate you over on Rumble. He's become like the Rumble sheriff over there, New Age Outlaw. Cake, appreciate you over on Rumble. Landman, appreciate you on Rumble. Landman to the moon. Who else? Golf. Appreciate golf over on Rumble. We got a lot of people over on Rumble. Thank you for all the calls. The Balt's over on Rumble right now doing a double cross stream. All right. Now I'm out of here.